Well, hey there, and welcome to the Brookside Conversations podcast. My name's Lucas, and I'm the director of online community here at Brookside. And I'm so excited that you have joined with us today, whether you're watching on YouTube or checking out the audio podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you might listen to your podcast. Make sure you subscribe and follow wherever you listen to this. And if you do that, you will get these episodes delivered to you for free every single week. And so we're so excited about the opportunity we have to discuss life and faith with you guys and with our guests here. And I'm just so excited that I get to share these great conversations that I've been having over the last little bit. This is episode 9 of our second season. So we've just been pumping these out. Really, really excited about that. And, it's been a great time. Really great conversations. I love the conversations that we get to have about the ministries at Brookside because we go a little deeper behind the scenes. And I've just been really blessed to talk to people, to really learn their heart about what is happening behind the scenes at Brookside. If you want to stay up to date with things that are happening at Brookside, go to mybrookside.church. There's a newsletter that we send out every week called the Brookside Brief. You can sign up to it on mybrookside.church. And there's just all the information that you need, especially we're in the spring of 2022 right now. And things are starting to open up dramatically a lot more these days. So there's no registration for church services right now. And, you don't have to be fully vaccinated to come into a worship service in person. And everything online is still so much available. And things are, in my opinion, just super exciting in the life of this church. And so I really don't want you guys to miss a beat. So make sure you head to mybrookside.church, sign up for the Brookside Brief, and stay connected. And on that topic, we are talking about what it looks like to stay connected in a digital world. That is the how-to today, is how to stay connected in the digital world. See, these days, there is so many ways to be just isolated and totally kind of living your own personal life in your four walls. And you can become lonely. And it's I didn't even mean to become lonely, but all of a sudden I'm feeling depressed and lonely. And it's how did I get to this place? Well, the truth is, for a lot of people, digital is not first nature, it's second nature. And it's hard to remember that digital is a real connection. And so we just want to encourage you. I have a few thoughts that I want to encourage you on about how to stay connected in a digital world. But first, I think it's important to define what we're even talking about, because a lot of us would have our own kind of definitions about that. So connected, right? What does it mean to be connected? Well, being connected means that you're investing in relationships, or even more, you're investing in the process of relationship building. You are friends with people for the sake of friendship, connection. It's so important. And a lot of us, we would give this advice day and night, but we have a hard time taking it for ourselves. You need to be connected to other people. That's how God created us. He created us to be people who are in relationship. In fact, God himself is a God of relationship. The Trinity is the perfect unity of three persons in relationship to one another. And so when we're created in God's image, that is just a huge part of our nature, is to be connected. So connecting means investing in that part of your life. In a world full of negotiations, like you text somebody, hey, I'm going to meet you at this place. No, that place doesn't work. Let's use this time. Let's use this place. We're negotiating with people all the time. Or we're buying stuff online. We're negotiating prices. Maybe in your work, you're negotiating. Connection means giving freely. You're just being generous with your time and your energy. And in a world full of hurry, where it's man, I got to go and do this errand before I have this meeting. And then after the meeting, I got to pick up my kids from school. And it's just, I'm hurrying all the time until the end of the day. It is I have to hurry because my show is on. Or if I'm on Netflix, I have to hurry because, just all the this world that we live in is so hurry. There's so many high frequency things that we just live through. It's very up here. It's a real connection means slowing down. And talking to people and actually engaging in a conversation. And in a world that's full of superficial, hi, how you doing? Good day. We talk about the other day I had a conversation with a friend. It's the way that we literally started the conversation was COVID, Ukraine, the weather, spring, Easter. All right, let's talk about the real stuff now. It's like these huge, big things that are happening in life, but so often we keep it very superficial. We talk about the news and the weather. We talk about like the most recent thing that's happening in life, but we don't get deep. How are you feeling? Oh man, how's your parents doing? How's your mom doing? Let's go deeper. Like, wow, like that must be going deeper. So in a world full of superficial, what does it look like for us to show some depth? And in that depth, that's what I'm talking about when I'm saying connection. We're talking about connecting in a digital world. Well, what does it mean to have some depth, to give freely and slow down and have some friendships for the sake of friendships? When we're talking about digital, hopefully we all have a fairly good idea of what that is. This platform right here is a digital platform, but I'm really talking about like Facebook Messenger, Instagram Messenger, WhatsApp conversations, TikTok, social media, the comment sections, maybe like Reddit threads or emails or blogs, like anything that you're kind of on a device looking at, or you're engaging with real people, but it's like on a digital platform. That's what I mean. Like that's kind of the world we live in. I heard it say recently, I think it was Elon Musk saying like, we all sort of are androids. we have phones connected to us. They're just not physically connected to us. But like once I sign into this phone, it's very much an extension of who I am. Like there's pictures of my whole life on here. There's all my accounts, which are just sort of like extensions of who I am. So I'm not saying that to like scare you. I'm not like, that's just the truth of where we're at in life right now, that we have these like is extensions of who we are, and we portray ourselves, and some of that can be superficial and some of it can be dangerously a lie, but there's the real opportunity here to see this as a real way to connect in a deep way. So connecting in a digital world, guess what? It's very much like connecting, period. It's a conversation today about connecting. In today's world, a lot of us are stuck out. We're missing connections. We're missing conversations. And I was thinking about this, like, I think some of us, we think about the past. We think about how we grew up. Like I was born in 1991. So in the 90s and early 2000s, like connection meant like going next door, knocking on the door and going in and making sandwiches with my friend, or like, literally my neighbors were my best friends, and or like picking up a phone and calling somebody. That was kind of the connection. And then by and large, most of the connections in my early childhood, in my teen years, was in person. Like the idea of connecting online, first of all, you had to pay like 15 cents for every text message. Sometimes you had to pay for the words. So it was like a very different world that we lived in. And when I was like many years ago, I was talking to a friend and they're like, dude, sometimes we glorify the past and we go, oh, I just wish for those days again. But doing that, it can be interesting to kind of nostalgically look back and dream about the past. And sometimes we forget how bad it was and we glorify it a little bit. But the truth is, that's not life anymore. My kids will never know that life. That life died a decade ago. So let's dive into 3 ways that we can stay connected in a digital world. First, let's just remember that digital connection is real connection. Unless you're like literally talking to a robot or AI. So if you're talking to a friend through text message, that is a real connection. If you're in a comment thread on Reddit about your favorite motorcycle, that is a real connection. If you're in a Zoom call with friends, that is a real connection. If you're going to a virtual event and there's hundreds of people in a Zoom call taking in a webinar, that's real connection. Those are real people who live in their own places, but those are real connections. Digital connections are real connections. If we can remember that, and then also use digital to connect with people in real life. When I was growing up, it was like kind of weird to ask for someone's phone number. And I wouldn't really ever dream of asking somebody for their Instagram handle. But truth is, that's where we're at, and that's okay. And let's do that. I think it's so important to use digital to connect with people that in real life. So if you have a coworker, it's not creepy anymore to invite them to follow them on Instagram. It's not creepy. That's a normal thing to do. We need to normalize like connecting with people we actually know on Instagram, because See, the thing is, or else we end up pushing the idea that digital is different. Digital shouldn't be different. Digital should be very much the same. And finally, let's commit to long form conversations on digital platforms. When I was growing up, and once like digital kind of became a bit more normal, even over the last 10 years, you kind of started the conversation on digital, but there was this assumption that you're going to finish it in real life. So like you might start like a conversation like, hey, let's meet up for coffee. Okay, what do you want to talk about? We go through like, a dozen different messages, but then we meet up in real life and that's kind of where the actual content happens. But that doesn't have to be the case anymore. In fact, it doesn't have to be the case. It really shouldn't be the case. My wife is teaching me this these days. It's like she has these awesome, like extremely long conversations with friends on social. Some of them she's never met in real life, but those are real people that she's really investing in, especially if you utilize like the voice messages or video calls. Like those are real conversations that are happening. They're just not happening in like a condensed period of time. They're happening over time, over messages. And so if we can remember that digital connections are real connections, then use digital to connect with people that you know in real life and commit to long form conversations online. Man, you are going to feel more connected than you ever have in the last long time. And I know this message is timely for a lot of you because you're feeling lonely, isolated. Man, I wish this was all over, but the world is changing and connecting with people is a little different than it ever was before. The world is a new and different place. And some of us, especially those of us who are like in our 30s or older, kind of grieve the past. We like wish for the days when you could just pick up the phone, but it's like, it's different now. Like I don't really ever call someone out of the blue. I like text them, hey, are you busy? Are you free? And so the world is changing and we have to change with it. But we also have to remember that digital connections are real connections. And so we can use these tools to actually have real connections with people online. And from a church perspective, from a Christian perspective, man, what an opportunity we have to spread the gospel of Jesus all around the world through our connections personally on our social media accounts. It's not this fake thing anymore that we're like trying to like persona thing. It's like, no, that's actually who you are. So if you are a disciple-making Christian, which we are all called to be, then you ought to be using that platform to help engage with your followers, with your friends, with your connections, in order to help them grow in their own discipleship journey as well. Does that make sense? We got to use this platform because God gives us opportunities every single day. And he doesn't only give us opportunities in real life. He gives us opportunities with folks online as well. And so let's use all of the tools that are possibly available to us to help spread the message. That's why you'll see things at Brookside that are online. And we're going to be moving forward. So much of everything we want to do is like hybrid, make it available to the world, make it available to somebody who's online, because even from a church perspective, digital world is a real world. Digital connections are real connections. So we're going to be doing everything we can to help kind of pave that way. Funny thing is, the church Brookside is located in one of Canada's largest tech parks. There's literally like so many tech companies in North Canada, and it's like we're the church in that neighborhood. So like we should be pretty tech forward as well. And digital connections matter a lot. That's today's episode. I'm hoping that you liked it. I'm hoping that you can feel the connection even here as I'm on one side of the camera and you're on another. I'm hoping that you can feel encouraged and equipped to live your best life in the digital world, to explain to your friends and family about the glorious beauty of Jesus, and that you can make these connections as well. It's just so encouraging to think of what this would look like if we all kind of took this seriously, if we all connected digitally in the way that we talked about today. Remember, if you have enjoyed today's episode, please consider subscribing or following wherever you are taking in this content. And I'm so happy that you have. You can leave a comment or email us. We're so excited that you have joined with us for today's podcast, and I can't wait to bring you more episodes. We're going to dive deep into some more ministries, some more conversations with Greg, the lead pastor, about different message series that he's bringing to us, and just have great conversations like we always do. So thank you for listening to today's episode of the Brookside Conversations podcast.